This video was made possible by our Patreon backers like Dana. Thanks, Dana. Is the Conservative Party Islamophobic? Well, that's what a report published yesterday attempts to unpack, as well as reflecting on remarks made by the Prime Minister about Muslims. So let's explain its findings right now. You might remember that last year a report was published looking into allegations of anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. Well, they're not the only party with worrying accusations, with the ruling Conservative Party coming under fire for alleged Islamophobia. To try and tackle this issue, an inquiry was set up to try and investigate the problem, and yesterday its report was officially published. Having reviewed some 1,418 complaints about Islamophobia within the party, Professor Singh, a former Equality and Human Rights Commissioner, concluded that the party had institutional failings in its response to anti-Muslim complaints, remarking that judging by the extent of complaints and findings of misconduct in the party itself that relate to anti-Muslim words and conduct, anti-Muslim sentiment remains a problem within the party. This is damaging to the party and alienates a significant section of society. However, the report wasn't able to find evidence of institutional Islamophobia, saying that there was no evidence that anti-Muslim complaints were treated any differently from other forms of discrimination. One person who came under specific scrutiny was party leader and Prime Minister Boris Johnson. In particular, questions were raised about his 2018 remarks, where he commented, "I would go further and say that it's absolutely ridiculous that people should choose to go around looking like letterboxes," going on to compare burqa-wearing women to bank robbers. In discussing these comments, the report concludes that the now Prime Minister's words were insensitive to Muslim communities. When speaking to the inquiry, Johnson said that the remarks were parodic and satirical, going on to defend the rights of journalists to use language freely. In response to the report, the Prime Minister's tone shifted slightly though, commenting that he was sorry for any offence taken. While not a full apology, Johnson did clarify, "Would I use some of the offending language from my past writings today? Now that I am Prime Minister, I would not." Many aren't happy with the report or the government's response though. The party's former chair, who demanded the inquiry in the first place, Lady Warsi, rejected the findings which denied institutional Islamophobia existed within the party, saying that there were issues from the top to the bottom. The issue, according to many, is that the remit of the report was deliberately limited. Remember, I spoke a lot about complaints at the start of this, and that there wasn't any evidence of institutional racism in the handling of said complaints. Well, that's not a coincidence. The investigation was limited to the complaints, and as such, according to the detractors, the report didn't have the remit required to truly uncover the issues that they identify within the party, arguing that the government did this intentionally to shield the truth. Sajjad Karim, a former Conservative MEP for 12 years, said that the manner in which the inquiry had been conducted means that it's nothing but an attempt to whitewash deep-rooted issues out of sight. He went on to complain that if anything, it acts as an illustration of the attitude inclined to view Islamophobia as an irritant best pushed to the side when not being utilised in promoting culture wars, rather than as a serious, systemic issue which needs to be rooted out. Another senior Muslim Tory said, "This report is a sad reflection of how little the party cares about inclusivity." The inquiry has stated that the Conservatives should, within 6 weeks, publish plans for fixing the issues identified, as well as producing a new code of conduct and training members of the party in the complaints procedure. The Conservatives have taken this advice on board, with the party's co-chair pledging to work harder to stamp out discrimination of all kinds, as well as apologising on behalf of the party to all of those impacted. What do you think though? Did the report really get to the root of the issue? And how should the Tories respond? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You might remember that at the start of this video I mentioned our patron Dana. Well, they're just one of the patrons who make this whole thing possible. In return for their generous support, they get their names mentioned in videos, early access to content, exclusive live events, and more. To find out what you could get and to sign up, click the link in the description.